my dreams away tonight.
The shot was after the bell.
I dropped Lewis, I beat him up, and I was getting the knockout.
Look, that's not the way I want to win a fight.
I've got to be honest with you, I want to see it again.
Alright, so the heavyweight division is carrying on, as it always does. Daniel Dubois is on about coming back. Moses Town will be out before the end of the year. There's talk of Fraser Clark versus Jamie TKV. Potentially, that fight, the rumour mill is, it could potentially be happening on the same day as Joseph Parker, Fabio Wardley. AJ will be coming back next year. In fact, Eddie Hearn is even saying that they may push his retirement date out to 2027. So you might actually get another year of Anthony Joshua after all. So the heavyweight division, as it always does, it carries on moving forward. Alexander Usyk is, well, we know we'll have at least one more fight. Against whom we don't know. I might talk about that in tomorrow's live stream. But you get what I mean. The heavyweight division is doing what it always does. It keeps going. It keeps moving forward. And it keeps giving us, quite frankly, good fights. Interesting matchups. You know, Parker versus Wardley is interesting. Clark versus TKV. Actually, that might... thinking about that fight, that might not actually be the best fight in the world. But Atelma, always entertaining. Dubois, Hrgovic, etc., etc., etc. A name that is absent, and we don't know where we stand with him now, is this man, Martin Bakole. Martin Bakole, 21-2-1. His most recent performances, a draw against FA Jagba, I felt he lost that fight, quite frankly, and a second round knockout defeat to Joseph Parker. Contrast that with the year before. It's only been a year. Well, 13 months. Good win over the undefeated Jared Anderson. Looked really good in that fight. Looked devastating. Looked vicious, powerful, intimidating. All the things you want to see in a heavyweight contender. All those things and more. That performance really had us all saying, maybe Martin Bakole really does have something. Maybe he can challenge the likes of Alexander Usyk. Because when you look at him in that Jared Anderson fight, you would say, God, someone like that with that kind of, you know, cross-arm defense, throwing those short uppercuts. It was just a very imposing figure in there. I could offset the rhythm to Alexander Usyk. You know, you're pushing him back and you're dictating the pace again. It could really offset his rhythm. And certainly you look at other heavyweights around at the time and you're thinking, Bacole's, you know, got the beating to them, you know, talking about Daniel Dubois amongst others. And you're thinking, okay, we could be onto something. And even in the year prior, and he was heavy in that fight as well, against Carlos Takam, a tough man in Carlos Takam, who I believe maybe even that same year, in fact I think he did, yeah, that same year, only in March of that year, he had got a win over Tony Yoka. And although it's a split decision win over Tony Yoka, it should have been unanimous. His next fight, he goes in there at Martin Bakole, who Tony Yoka, God help him, if it ever had happened, was actually scheduled to face Martin Bakole at one stage. Thank God. Oh no, actually it did happen, because yeah, it happened, and we know what happened there. Forgot that. I thought for some reason that fight didn't happen. We know what happened there. Tony Yoka, majority decision, should have been unanimous. But Martin Bakole getting the wins and doing what he needs to do. Obviously, after the Jared Anderson fight, he was probably well paid for that. It was on a Riyadh show, was in America, made a name for himself. And what did he do after that? Nothing. Not a damn thing. And this is the problem. Martin Bakole, according to BoxRec, is 33 years old. All right, I'm not sure if I buy that. And I'm pretty sure if you Google him on Wikipedia, he's listed at 32 years old. So BoxRec have him at one age, Wikipedia have him at another age. I'm just going to chuck it out there, but I reckon they're both probably wrong. And Martin Bakole probably is that little bit older, as in probably closer to 40 than he is 35. Nevertheless, it is still disappointing to see how in a year what has happened. Because Bakole, as I said, in that fight against Jared Anderson, he looked at business. He looked at business against Takam. He looked at business against Yoka. Against Sergey Kuzmin, and maybe this is a reason why he's been coming in so much heavier as of late. Against Sergey Kuzmin, hard to believe, it was 5 years ago, he was 251 pounds. He's actually lighter than Sergey Kuzmin that night. It didn't look good. He didn't. I mean, one of the judges had Marcus McDonald 98-92. I don't know how he arrived at that. I really don't. But it was not a good performance, and Kuzmin had been soundly beaten by Michael Hunter in the previous fight. So maybe that was kind of the wake-up call where they thought, okay, maybe we're coming in a little bit too light. 256 against Michael Hunter in his defeat to him back in the York Hall all those years ago. So maybe that was the wake-up call, because from then on, his weight did appear to go up. 282, 275 against Yoka, in the 270s in slash 280s. So it seemed like at this stage in his life and his career, that's the weight Martin Bakole seemed comfy at. And at the end of the day, it's happened with other fighters. You know, Tyson Fury was in the 250s when he came back originally, and he didn't look good. He didn't look good. He was too light, I think, against Deontay Wilder. And obviously it was not long removed from his comeback, but the weight definitely played a factor in certainly the first knockdown, which he wasn't even hurt. It was just Lennox Lewis even said on commentary, that's just the weight. Against Otto Wallin, he was in the 250s, and again, he didn't just missing something. Just missing something. Once he packed the weight on, well, not even packing the weight on, just not draining himself down to a weight he can't get to healthily anymore, he was fine. You know, he was doing well. He was looking good. The Wilder performances, to me, is still his best performance. So it showed that, okay, just weigh your natural weight. And I think 270 to maybe 280 probably is Bakole's probably natural or at least comfy weight right now. He hasn't been doing that as of late. He took the Joseph Parker fight inexplicably. I mean, why in God's name you do this is beyond me. On 48 hours notice at 310 pounds. Knowing he's not got a sniff of a prayer in this fight, knowing that, you know, he's literally not even got a chartered flight. He has to commute his way from the Congo to Saudi Arabia. Had to weigh in on the morning of the fight, 310 pounds, clearly hadn't trained, clearly was out of shape, clearly was never going to win the fight. Gives up an IBF eliminator, which would have guaranteed him a crack at Dubois or Usyk. And they're quick to call their mandatory, so he would have got a crack at a vacant title if nothing else. And then he gets his fight, he gets his fight with a Jagba, which is now for nothing essentially. And he knows he has ample notice. He knows he can start training. He knows he can be starting preparing. And he only loses 11 pounds. And he still looks terrible on fight night. He lost that fight. It's down as officially a draw, but he lost that fight. How do we go? How do we actually go from one of the most potentially dangerous heavyweights in the world in less than a year? We're talking about Anthony Joshua, who is near the end. And Eddie Hearn has even acknowledged that in a recent statement, saying that if Joshua loses his next fight, that's it. So Eddie Hearn is not trying to kid himself and say Anthony Joshua is the best heavyweight in the world and that he can, you know, do all these things that he used to. Eddie Hearn is even kind of acknowledging that, you know, we're nearly done. You know, we're done. And if he does lose, it's over. And we're talking about, at one stage we were saying, oh, you couldn't put Bakole and Joshua together because Bakole will destroy him. Now we're like, well, maybe you can do that. Maybe Joshua has the beating of him now. How do we, like, that right there is a combination of two things. It's a combination of poor management. And at the end of the day, when a fighter is poorly managed, right, yes, you can critique the managerial team, and you absolutely can do that. But at the end of the day, you know, it's like Kell Brook when he fought Triple G. Was it a poor decision on Eddie Hearn's behalf to suggest that fight? Yeah, it was. But did he put a gun to Kell Brook's head and say, take it? No. Did anyone put a gun to Bakole's head and say, take these fights? No. He doesn't have to. So he has to shoulder some of the blame for it. And as for the being in and out of shape, I mean, honestly, it's a joke. It's an absolute joke. I mean, I don't understand that there are people who are not professional boxers. There are people who do. I love going for a run. I love running, right? I'm not a professional sprinter or runner or anything like that. I've done a half marathon once in my life, and I was very actually pleased with it. I did it in under 2 hours. But I just do that because I enjoy it. Bakole is a professional athlete. He's a boxer, and he can't bring himself to even remotely stay, not even in shape, but he can't tick over. Really? It's crazy. And now he's in his early 30s. Yeah, officially. And he's still not in shape, judging by his recent pictures. And it just seems like no one's mentioning him. And this is what I said about Riyadh shows, right? It's one thing losing on a Riyadh show, but it's another thing to go and just give nothing. Because Turkey will bring you back if you're willing to bring if you're willing to bring the show and you're willing to bring the firepower and bring the fight. He'll bring you back because hell yeah, you're excited even in defeat. Bakole is just like, what? What is it? It's nothing. It's just, that's what it is. It's crazy. I can't believe 1 year, well, 13 months removed from that night against Jared Anderson, we are now talking about Bakole potentially retiring from the sport because he wants a big fight. I think Bakole I think at this stage now the ambition has well and truly left Martin Bakole. I don't think his ambition is to fight for the heavyweight title. I think his ambition is to have one last mega payday and sail off into the sunset. And that's just wasted potential, because Bakole, who fought Takam, the Bakole who fought Anderson, there was potential there to do things in the heavyweight division. There was, and it's a shame to have seen. It really truly is. But those are just my thoughts. Let me know yours in the comment section below. I hope you enjoyed the video, people, as always. If you could, smash the like button. Let me know, are you as disappointed in how Bakole's career has panned out over the last year as I am? Let me know in the comments. Hope you enjoyed it, people. Smash the like button if you could. Hit subscribe, of course, as always, if you haven't already. Until next time, until tomorrow, most likely, we will go live tomorrow. Trust me on that. We will do a live stream about 7:30 tomorrow. And we'll have an old catch-up. Until then.